so
There's
fathead.
no globe anywhere unless you can
so.
produce
I
one.
don't think so.
I don't think so.
Exactly. I don't think so. Welcome to
I don't
Flat
think
Earth.
so.
It's not flat. I don't think so.
Wait, Blue. I think I figured it out. It's the I don't think part that makes you a flat earther. So it should just be I don't think so, and then the lips like ... I don't think so.
Yeah,
Boy,
but
it
just
should
put
be
the cover on the
Walt
wrong place,
Disney
we've done
Warner
that.
Brothers Glober.
Oh,
Walt Disney Warner
you're
Brothers
saying there's a
cartoon comic
comma
book
in there, huh?
Glober
No, there's
with
a
a
comma
plastic
in there, right?
cartoon
Yeah, there's a
sticker
comma
ball.
in there. It's
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't think,
trampoline for
comma,
your space
so.
So yeah,
Work like time.
Denying it doesn't make it true, dude.
does this
Your
guy know how
comic
to do
book
anything
doesn't
other than
make it
just talk
true.
over people? Is that all he does? Just talk over people?
Yeah.
I guess.
That's all he does, and it's the evidence that gives us good justification to hold the position we have. And what you don't have is any evidence, because
You've got
all your
nothing except
observations.
misunderstanding.
Yeah, all
I've
your
got no
observations.
globe. That's all the evidence I need. No globe, buddy.
Yeah, no, there is a globe, and I've seen that for myself.
Yeah, right.
And also
Comic book.
affirm the lie. You know, affirming it doesn't make it true either.
Yeah,
Lemon
but
Bird-
you're reading the Flat Earth comic book. That's the
Lemon
trouble.
Bird, we're not talking to you anymore, Lemon Bird, or at least I'm not.
You're simply the whetstone that I sharpen my arguments against, but whatever.
You don't. Oh, give me a break, dude. You give me a break, dude. You couldn't even define frequency.
To help
You have no idea what you're talking about. You couldn't even define frequency.
You are a tool to help me become a better debater for the final showdown with any opponent.
You're better than that, aren't you? You gotta be better than that, right?
You are a tick mark in my victory count on the way
Lemon
to
Bird,
winning.
can you demonstrate that Newtonian gravity not working? And I'm not talking about relativity where there's shit orbiting the sun really fast. Here on Earth, can you demonstrate the equations for gravity not working? Unless you can, you have no argument, and I don't care about anything else you have to say. Like, I'm honestly,
Gravity's fake. What are you talking about? So, Lemon Bird. So I'm a dragon with wings and a unicorn horse.
Demonstrate that mass does not attract mass. Can you do that? Yes or no?
Demonstrate a unicorn, Lemon.
You let children get you like this too, or just adults? Yeah, because Lemon's nothing more than a child, right? You get that.
What's Lemon training for? He was about to say he's training for some ultimate win in some battle he's going into. What's the final showdown? What's the final showdown, Lemon? I want to be there.
But Lemon feeds on you getting angry like that. When you do that, you're feeding him.
What you've
You
got
know
to
that, right?
understand, Lemon only uses the bits from the Bible that agree with his position, because he actually goes against half of what the Bible says. So he needs to stop using the Bible as his evidence.
But arguing with that feeds him too.
Okay, so Area 85 asked for evidence that gravity doesn't work, and I'm pretty sure he remembers the egg and salt experiment. And so the mass of the Earth...
We've already discussed this, dude.
Yeah, well...
Flatwater's hungry now too. He needs to be fed now.
I believe that the mass of the Earth is causing the egg to...
Yeah, and what...
Then...
Buoyancy? Buoyancy? Do you know the buoyancy equation much?
Ask him the question about what's inside the shell of the egg.
No, here. Okay, he wanted me to address this. Fine, I'll address it again.
How many times will you address this?
What did I say earlier? Oh my God! Who's echoing? Could somebody mute? Okay, whatever. Whenever you have an object that's not in a vacuum, it's in some sort of medium. The actual weight equation, or the what you're going to measure on a scale equals mass times gravity minus the buoyancy effects. That's That's the reason an egg floats, and that's the reason an egg will come to an equilibrium at water. It's the reason it floats in water. It's partially submerged because there's gravity pulling it down, and there's buoyancy effects pushing it up. And when those two effects equal each other, is how deep the egg is going to sit in the water. That's why it doesn't just sit directly on top.
Okay,
And you can experimentally demonstrate that this works.
Okay, and do you remember what I said
like
as
nothing to do
well?
with
Is
gravity.
that gravity is we do observe the 9.8 meters per second squared, that falling effect, but we don't observe that mass controls that. So when you say gravity, that does not mean gravity.
There's no 9.8 meter per second shit anywhere. There's no down anywhere in space.
Oh no!
If you're on the outside of a sphere in space, and you're talking about the idea of something towards the center of that.
Your misunderstanding doesn't mean it's wrong. What the hell is going on with this piece of shit?
I think you answered your own question right there.
You're controlling it.
Your misunderstanding of what gravity is does not mean it's incorrect. Unless you can demonstrate that it doesn't work, you have no argument. Period.
Well, who misunderstands it when you can't show that you can control movement with mass? You haven't shown that yet.
I gave you 3 experiments that can do so. Just because you deny them doesn't mean I can't do it. I gave you 3 separate experimental methods to do just that, what you're asking.
Yeah.
You denying it doesn't make it invalid.
And remember,
the answer to your question is you misunderstand it.
Okay.
That's the answer to your question. It's you. All right?
Okay. So you gave those 3 experiments, and I told you that you have like a misdirection problem there, where you're getting your conclusion, you're looking at a device, and then you make a conclusion because of what's happening to a device.
So
that's a redirection in order for you to make your conclusion for each of those experiments. Furthermore, you have experiments that contradict your concept of gravity with the egg in the water with salt. And you also have a Slinky experiment. Okay, so you have contradictions. It can't be true.
Slinky is a device.
So you have
Slinky is a device. You can't use a device. The Slinky is a device. You can't use a device in an experiment. You just said. Just because you use the word device, and it doesn't mean you
What
get
about
to
hot air?
It doesn't mean you get to dismiss any experiment.
What about helium? Where does it go? Where does hot air go?
Oh God!
I want to hear
does that go down?
Okay, I'm going to explain this again because apparently you weren't listening.
Why? Seriously,
mass
why?
times gravity minus buoyancy.
What is mass?
It's the amount of energy. It's the amount of energy in a system. What? That's a fairly decent definition. So
energy is being pulled down by gravity.
It's the amount of energy.
So energy is being pulled down by gravity. So heat is being pulled down by gravity. That's odd. So what is mass again?
The amount of energy in a system.
The amount of energy. What's that?
John.
I think you just talk in circles.
It's not talking in circles, dude. I don't know how to explain.
You don't know what it is?
Physics concepts to somebody that doesn't understand basic anything.
You don't know what mass is, but you're talking about it. Okay, cool. Thank you.
I just gave you I just defined mass, man. I don't know how.
You said it's
how much
energy.
simpler I can make it.
You said it's energy, and then you said gravity is pulling
It's a quantity
energy down.
Yeah, I defined it. If you don't want to listen to my paraphrased version of that.
So when I light a fire, is that getting pulled down? The energy from that fire that's raising up, and the heat that's being pulled down.
That's a chemical reaction, dude. Like
that's heat, buddy. That's energy.
Dude,
You got us. You got us. The Earth is flat. You got it, dude. Now go win that Nobel Peace Prize.
Fire is affected by gravity. You ever seen what happens when you light a fire in zero gravity? It looks pretty fucking different.
Don't care. Where's gravity at?
Award for 2020.
Where's gravity at in zero gravity?
I mean,
now you're gonna show me gravity.
You figure you would win an award for it because you guys discovered it. I can't wait to be there to give you that award.
Where's gravity at? What does that even mean? Where's gravity at? Zero gravity. Okay, zero gravity. You could achieve that one. You could achieve that in a few different ways. Two of the most common ways is, first of all, in the vomit comet, where you're accelerating toward the ground at the same rate of gravity, 9.8 meters per second squared, and thus canceling it out. It neutralizes it. Or something pretty damn similar is be in fucking orbit around the Earth or some other planetary body. Third one being get as far away from a gravity well as possible, and then you're also in zero gravity. There's a few different ways you can do it, man.
That's not zero gravity, though. That's just neutral, allegedly neutral gravity.
It's canceled out. It's canceled out. Therefore, it equates to the same thing. It cancels out.
No, you need to say.
If you could cancel out your imaginary gravity, you could show us an imaginary little globe with water on it and everything working like a tide and boats and stuff, right?
If you actually did the math for gravity, you would realize that there would be
gravity of Earth. Is why you can't produce it.
Let me give you a very, very simple example that maybe even you can understand of why what you just said was fucking horseshit. So
yeah, like
take
your energy and mass.
Okay, let me finish. I know you're afraid of getting a coherent answer because it proves you wrong.
Well, how much mass is in a lightning bolt?
Have some courage, and let me finish. So
how much mass is in a lightning bolt?
Have some courage and let me finish what I'm trying to say. Before you
energy's mass is what you were saying.
Stop trying to divert me away from the subject. Stop trying to divert the conversation and stick to the fucking point.
What point?
Okay. Okay. Now that you're done talking, stick have an electromagnet on the left side of a piece of iron. And have a refrigerator magnet on the right side of a piece of iron.
Why do I need that when gravity?
I'll explain that if you would shut up and let me finish. I'll explain that if you would let me finish. No, well, I mean, I was still talking, so obviously I wasn't done. I'm sorry the middle of my sentence interrupted the beginning of yours. So have an electromagnet on one side that's 5 inches from a piece of iron. Have a refrigerator magnet on the other side that's also 5 inches from a piece of iron. Which way do you think that piece of iron is going to go? Toward the electromagnet, one of those giant motherfuckers that picks up cars in junkyards, or toward the refrigerator magnet? Which way do you think it's going to go? You can do it.
Towards gravity.
Toward the refrigerator magnet.
It's going to go toward the refrigerator magnet?
Of course it's going to go
gravity.
Toward the refrigerator magnet.
Why would it go toward the refrigerator magnet?
Because the refrigerator is bigger than that magnet.
Okay, let's go.
I didn't say refrigerator. I said a refrigerator magnet. I didn't say a refrigerator. There's no refrigerator involved in this. You have a refrigerator magnet that's 5 inches to the right of a piece of iron, and you have a giant electromagnet that's 5 inches to the left of a piece of iron. Which way is the piece of iron going to go?
Toward the refrigerator magnet, I told you.
Down.
That's how this conversation is.
No, it's
going to fall.
The big magnet used to pick up cars is stronger, so it's going to go toward the big electromagnet. It's stronger than the little tiny refrigerator magnet.
Squared.
Cite your source. I need your sources.
Does it accelerate at 9.8 meters per second squared towards the other magnet?
The point of what I'm trying to say is, if you've got a much stronger force, it's going to react toward that force and consider the other one negligible.
Oh,
how
like
in the
centripetal
hell?
force?
How in the hell are you going to have something orbit something here on Earth when you've got a much stronger gravitational field
so
already?
Magnetics disproves gravity, and then another force is centripetal, and then we have wind.
Are you seriously this stupid? You can't understand what I'm the analogy.
I've never seen gravity do anything.
Are you seriously this freaking stupid?
They are seriously that stupid. Just let it go.
You just explained how gravity is going to pull, or a magnet's going to pull something, and gravity's not going to do shit to it.
I was presenting an analogy which was
obviously you showed me the gravity of the Earth is bullshit.
I was presenting an analogy that was obviously way above your head.
That the mass of the Earth couldn't attract a little thing that a little bitty magnet could pull from the Earth. I know. Thank you, buddy. You just showed us all gravity is bullshit. Thank you.
Listen, dumbass. Okay, sorry, I shouldn't have called you names. I apologize for that.
No, that's fine. It's all right. Your shortcomings, you can call me whatever you want to overcome for your shortcoming ignorance.
Dude, I did more science today than you've done in your entire life.
I know, rocket balloon boy. I know.
Yeah,
the rocket equation's a fucking balloon. 94% fuel, 6% material. It's a plastic fucking balloon, buddy. Thank you for your rocket equation. You've taught us all something good, balloon boy. Thank you.
Hey, my desk sits 300 feet from the damn rocket at all times. It ain't a balloon.
Thank you. Balloon technology at its finest. Can't go nowhere. Can't do shit with it.
It ain't a balloon. It's a physical object.
Go put your initials on the moon real quick. Put your initials on the moon with it, liar.
Prove I'm lying.
Put something green on the front of it and make it hit the moon. Let's see a green dot on the moon. You damn liar.
I'm not lying. You calling me a liar doesn't mean I am one.
Unless you can put something green or pink or blue or purple or polka dot on the moon or a happy face or your initials, you're a fucking liar.
How the hell are you going to see something? Can you even comprehend how big that would have to be
how long are you
going to be able to see it from down here?
85. You're getting trolled. You're getting triggered. He's doing it on purpose. You just need to take a breath and calm. Dimmock, why are you being such a dick?
I'm serious.
You're being a dick, dude.
I'm asking for live stuff, buddy. If I pay my money,
you're waiting for him to start talking, and then you're interrupting like I'm doing to you. Put a green dot on the moon, or you're a liar. Put a green dot on the moon, or you're a liar. What the fuck, dude?
Is that what you're helping with?
I didn't call your name. I asked you why you're being a dick to him.
You're calling me a dick.
Yeah, okay, so you're right. I guess
that's your opinion. Thanks for your opinion. We don't value it.
Why are you being that way to him?
I don't value your opinion of calling me a dick, liar.
Well, okay, I'll tell you what.
I'm not a dick. I'm just being. I'm being a regular person.
No, you're not.
I'll tell you what, dude. I'll tell you what. He ran away. He ran away.
Dude, he was just asking for some kind of standard for proof of what you're claiming to do. Like you claim that.
Yeah, I was going to offer it to him, but he ran away.
He said, hold on, 85, take a breath. He said to 85, put a green dot on your rocket, put it in the moon. If you don't put a green dot on the moon with your crashed rocket, then you're a liar. What the fuck sense does that make? That's not a reasonable thing to say. That's not just asking for clarification or proof.
That would be some kind of proof that we could all observe and confirm.
Flatwater. Look me in the eyes and tell me that again.
That he has a death.
Look me in the eyes and tell me you think it's a reasonable thing to say. You're a liar if you don't put a green dot on the moon with a crashed rocket.
Dude, that's ridiculous. Do you have any idea how big that would have to be?
And prove
that's not a reasonable thing to be saying, Flatwater.
Something reasonable that I was going to offer him that
aren't providing proof.
Something reasonable.
Well, that's not true. Hold on, 85. Take a breath. 85. Take a breath, my friend. Please take a breath. That's not true, Flatwater. We are providing proof. We provide it all the time. You ignore it. Second of all, even if we weren't asking him to crash a rocket into the moon to put a green dot on it, how is he going to do that? There's nothing realistic about that. And then to call him a liar about 5 times in a row over it, that's just trying to rile him up.
Well, I think
85, please just
to translate what I'm pretty sure he was calling him a liar as far as the globe Earth and the other things that cannot be proven.
He wasn't.
He said, I'm within 100 yards of a rocket all day long. And then he said, liar, put a green dot on it, crash into the moon.
Well,
if you don't crash into the moon, you're a liar. What kind of sense does that make?
He wasn't contesting the desk or anything. He's contesting, your belief that these rockets can go into space.
No, he's being a dick. He's calling him a liar if he doesn't crash a green dotted rocket into the moon.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said. He's calling me a liar about the rocket not being a balloon specifically. He's calling me a liar about that. So what I was going to offer him as something I can actually reasonably accomplish, because my name is not Jeff Bezos and I don't own Blue Origin, is I was going to offer him, if he was willing to fly his ass to El Paso, I'd pick him up and give him a tour of the freaking vehicle processing facility. That is something I can reasonably do. And show him that these things are not balloons. They are actual rockets with engines that I've personally tested.
Can I take that offer?
Who said? I don't even know who said that.
Well, yeah, it doesn't mean that they go where you might think that they go.
It's not what I think, dude. You realize that these rockets, they're not like the ones that you buy at a hobby store where you just light the thing and run away and hope it goes straight up. They have to be monitored. They have to be controlled, and the telemetry, every aspect of that thing, the telemetry has to be sent back, including live closed circuit video. Like, this is all stuff, and all this stuff has to be managed by people on the ground, engineers on the ground.
So what benefit does that have for the community or for your company? What are you guys actually doing?
Well, first of all, why that's not the issue that I'm trying to address here.
It is an issue because you guys are wasting a lot of money with all this space programs and all these lies.
The only person's money that I'm quote unquote wasting is Jeff Bezos, because he pays for this everything we do out of pocket. His money. He can do whatever the fuck he wants with it. And if he decides to pay me for the 7-8 years that I spent in college for becoming an engineer to develop rockets, that's his freaking business. So there's no point to be made there.
So yeah, there is a point, because you can't think of any usefulness of all this space program.
It's extremely useful.
It's a big waste of money, and you guys are just being showmen. You're just like, oh, I can make this device and make it go up, and it's doing nothing. You have nothing to show for it.
It's flat water. Here's the thing.
You want to visit Blue Origin's website and actually look up what the mission statement is for Blue Origin, because what the entire purpose of this company is investing in the future, human beings being able to propagate out into the universe, because that's where we're headed. Whether you flurfers like it or not, that's what's going to happen eventually.
Okay, how about you prove that before you took the money
and
then you just assumed it. You didn't prove that that's even possible or that space exists.
We have done it. We have done it. You not believing it doesn't mean we haven't done it.
Okay, and that's why everyone here can see the globe Earth with their own eyes, right?
Yeah, they can. There's a picture of the globe Earth taken every 10 minutes by Himawari. You can see a picture, a new picture of Earth that is developed every 10 minutes by Himawari.
Yeah, developed. Okay, made on a computer. Developed. Have you ever read the site description for NOAA that describes how the Himawari images are created on a computer? You need to research.
Do you know what NOAA is?
What you're saying?
Do you know what the acronym for NOAA is?
It doesn't matter. They're making those Himawari images.
What the hell does NOAA have to do with the space program, dude?
Flat water. Himawari is not NOAA.
Yes, it is.
Those have nothing to do with
each other. It's absolutely not. All Himawari uses NOAA for are the color samples from NOAA's images because Himawari was set up to be in black and white. And Himawari is run by the Japanese Space Agency, not the North American Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or whatever the fuck NOAA stands for. I mean North American Oceanic Atmospheric Administration.
Yeah.
Anyway, they use their colors. That's it. They don't use anything else.
And not to mention,
taking real images, you wouldn't need
It is a real image. It is impossible.
It is a black and white image. It's a black and white high-res image, and the reason why is to get that resolution. And then they overlay it with colors taken from a NOAA satellite. That's it. That's all they do. They don't manipulate the image in any way other than overlaying colors. Overlaying colors is not manipulating information. It's providing you with a color picture when before it was a black and white picture. That's it.
You have to
go through doing is mapping
because you couldn't get the distance to take a full frame shot.
No, Himawari 8 takes a single photo of Earth. It is not a composite. And as far as the color mapping thing, no,
it does. It takes a single picture every 8 to 10 minutes, man. You're 100% wrong.
And you can prove this yourself. There's software you can use to see if that image has ever been fucked with, dude. Like you can prove this yourself.
I think Himawari 8 actually doesn't use the color from NOAA because it does actually have the blue, green, and red basebands on satellite.
Okay, you need to read the site description for the NOAA website that contains the images for Himawari, and it describes how those are made using a computer,
it's just
using
archival version of
and the blue marble data.
No, the Himawari 5 is where it comes from. Because the Himawari 8 is after the Himawari, before the Himawari 5. So the Himawari 5 is before the Himawari 3. Okay? So you guys got it wrong.
What?
They haven't told you about Himawari 9 yet, have they?
Yeah, I mean, aren't they launching that like in the next 6 7 months?
Himawari number, anything. No. Just said Himawari. And if they lie once and they're not making real images, then why do you believe them again?
How is it? Hold on, wait.
When did anybody lie? That's the thing. Sorry.
How are they lying if they're telling you?
You haven't proved they've lied once, much less every time.
I'm giving you evidence. You need to read the site description for the NOAA website. They have a subdirectory for Himawari. And the Himawari,
that's great. Himawari is not a composite.
Clearly, it's CGI.
For every one word
they
read
don't.
I've probably read about
you read it and stop contradicting your own model.
I'm not contradicting the model, dude. You just don't understand what you're reading because you're uneducated on this topic completely. I know you're afraid to let me. I know you're afraid. I know you're afraid to let me speak. I know you're afraid to let me speak because I'm going to prove you wrong. But have a little courage. You have a little courage and let me speak. Don't be afraid of the truth. So the only processing that's done to Himawari images is actually to lower the resolution for distribution on certain platforms. Like the resolution that's displayed on when those images are distributed is actually lower than what was actually gathered. That is the only processing that I'm aware of that is done to a Himawari image. Furthermore, I'm sorry that the middle of my sentence interrupted the beginning of yours. Furthermore, the resolution on the original image is so high that not even Pixar could render it in 10 minutes or less.
Okay, do you see the difference? I gave you evidence that can be verified on the NOAA website. You're talking out your ass.
I'm not talking out my ass. Everything I said is a guaranteed fact, and you don't understand what you're reading.
came unprepared. You don't have evidence. You're talking out
That
your ass.
site description
No,
that
I'm
you
not
were
talking
reading
out my
only
ass.
refers to the GoAs products.
Yes, you are, because you're contradicting the NOAA website and its site description, how it describes the Himawari
Give me a link.
images.
Give me a link then. Give me a link. All right, I'll tell you what. Give me a link to whatever it is you're talking about, and I'll read it right now. And I guarantee you, I'd bet anything that you're misunderstanding what you're reading.
Yes.
All right, I'm on
the Himawari live feed.
Then
check it out.
The Himawari live feed is right there.
Look for the whole thing.
All right, so according to the Himawari 8 website, not NOAA, because NOAA doesn't run the Himawari 8, true color reproduction imagery. True color reproduction imagery technology enables the display of Earth's images taken from space in a way that is familiar to the human eye. The imagery consists of data from 3 visible bands, bands 1, 2, and 3, 1 near-infrared band, band 4, and 1 infrared band, band 13. To reproduce colors as seen by the human eye, RGB signals observed by AHI are converted into the CIE XYZ values and reconverted in RGB signals for output devices compliant with sRGB, an international standard for RGB color space. Murata et al., 2018. In this process is an alternative to the bispectral hybrid green method outlined by Miller et al., 2016. The green band is optimally adjusted using bands 2, 3, and 4 to make the imagery more vivid. Atmospheric correction, Rayleigh correction, Miller et al., 2016, is also applied to AHI bands 1 through 4. Software for this purpose was provided by the Cooperative Institute for Research in the Atmosphere, established by NOAA, Nestis, and Colorado State University in the United States of America. So all they did was take the program that allows the computer to take those bands and put them into a color band that the human eye can detect, because some of them are in the infrared and we can't see in the infrared. So that's not CGI. That's just like night vision goggles aren't CGI. They just allow you to see when you normally can't see. Does that make sense?
Does you contradicting the GOES archive per NOAA site description make sense?
God. Hold on, Flat.
You haven't provided a citation, so I can't contradict something I haven't read. All I can do is contradict you, and I have no problem contradicting you. So until you show me something that contradicts what I just read, no, I'm asking you to show me citation, show me a source to prove that.
Check chat.
The Himawari storage in the NOAA site is only a relay. Okay, it only has color products. That does not mean that Himawari is NOAA controlled. In fact, if you actually go to the Japanese Meteorological Agency's website, you can get every single raw band.
It doesn't matter who controls Himawari. It matters where the images claiming to be from Himawari, how those are made.
Guess where they're processed, buddy?
At a processing plant.
No, guess where? Guess where? I'll give you 2 choices, and it's not America.
The Congo.
Wrong. You're wrong.
Narnia?
All right, Flatwater, are you going to post a link?
Dude, okay, I'll repost it again. I already posted it.
Where? I'm looking through the chat and I don't see it.
Flat, here's your problem. Your entire problem with like GoEs and Himawari is that they're processed to show color. What if I gave you a black and white image that was directly raw, 0 processing, 0 editing? Would you accept that? Because I have plenty of those.
Why wasn't an actual link?
Flatwater, do you want? He's giving you a pretty enticing offer that you asked for. Why aren't you responding? I would like to see the image. That sounds pretty cool.
It's actually pretty mundane.
Isn't
what image? What are you talking about? I'm talking about the site description that you're contradicting. Himawari is in the Go's archive, and the Go's archive
It's
is
just a
clearly
relay.
described in the site description. And since Himawari is a subdirectory,
archive means?
Have you
part of the Go's
have you
archive.
posted
Do you
the
know what
have
the
you
site
posted the
description
link
is
yet?
saying? The site description is only saying that the stuff in that archive is affected by that site description.
Himawari,
The stuff that I have
Go-
on my hard drive right now did not come from that website at all.
And
I have more products than that website, like 10 times as many images that website has per
yeah,
image.
I didn't know the Japanese Meteorological Agency, who were the ones that funded those fucking Himawari satellites, was part of the GOES network. Because I thought that no, because I didn't think southern based
is described in the site description.
doesn't matter if it's described.
Yeah,
You can
it
put
matters
anything.
because
You can put any
how they're
description of
being made
anything
on the
anywhere.
computer, blue marble data.
Yeah, data. That's all they get from it. Doesn't mean it's controlled by them.
Direct link to the Himawari section on Go's.
Come on.
Look.
Okay, so I think I see the problem here. So you're focused on this sentence right here. The underlying colored land image is from the NASA Blue Marble Next Generation data set. Is that the issue that you're having with those images?
That and all the images in the GOES archive are processed in MIC-IDAS, so it's being processed, and yeah, they're using an underlying colored land image.
Okay, so you do realize that it's a weather satellite. You do realize it's a weather satellite, right?
It doesn't matter. They're
yes,
using
it does. It does because it doesn't care. It doesn't care about the land. It cares about the weather.
To its function.
Yeah, so you're basically pasting weather on some data, and that's how you get your image.
That's why we're getting 15 day. We're getting weather 15 days in advance of when it's happening because of these fucking satellites.
My God.
Deny. That's all you're doing, man.
Dude, you got wrecked, Area 85.
Your entire
I got wrecked.
problem.
I got wrecked. Really.
You tried to speak Himawari, got shut down like a clown.
I was
No,
I wasn't.
You didn't shut anything down. What are you? If your takeaway from this conversation,
I
is
wasn't
you somehow
wrong.
debunk the Himawari pictures. You are wrong as fuck, dude. This is this article or this text file is literally only talking about images that are in the GOES archive. They're not talking about the images that are in the Himawari 8 archive. What about those?
Himawari is a subdirectory of GOES, therefore it's in the GOES archive. You need to put things together.
So you're telling me that Himawari doesn't have its own archive?
No, don't straw man. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
because that's the implication of your response to what I just said.
It's not your straw man.
That is actually what you know. It's what you implied in your response. Instead of going, yes, you're right, no name. There can be other archives that exist, and there's a Himawari archive. You couldn't have said those.
Sure, I mean, I'm not debating that. I mean,
would that be an honest response, though, if you had said that, or is a dishonest response going to focus on the GOES archive that I just said is not the only archive, and it's not the main archive for Himawari 8? Because I'm looking at the Himawari 8 website right now.
They have Himawari images, and they're being processed with a computer using NASA Blue Marble data.
So
dude, it's
the same is done for the Japanese website as well,
All pictures are processed in some way. A damn Polaroid.
No,
Yeah.
chill. Just a little something I got from the Bureau of Meteorology. Imagery. If the imagery from the Himawari 8 Then the acknowledgement is satellite image originally processed by the Bureau of Meteorology in Australia.
Australia, well, you can't trust it because Australia's fake, and it's populated with British Texans. So
yeah, you remember when the flat Earth community was trying to say that Australia was not real? You remember that?
Yes.
You remember that claim?
Yeah,
you guys seem to have dropped that over the
Flat
past
Earth
couple of
Society
years.
was controlled opposition.
Controlled opposition. So is Lemon controlled opposition? I'm curious.
I'm not making. I can just tell you that Flat Earth Society is, and Lemon doesn't really seem to be. But I don't know that much about it.
Hey, tell me about this flat Earth. No. I want to hear about this flat Earth society.
Oh yeah.
So you guys have like a bunch of things that you agree on now.
No, that's where all the disinfo comes from. Like where you're saying, "Oh, remember when flat earthers didn't believe in Australia?" Like all that disinfo comes from Flat Earth Society and other controlled opposition.
The Flat Earth Society was actually set up as a debate group to discuss ridiculous ideas like the flat Earth.
Yeah,
that's why they called it Flat Earth Society, to get practice for debates, not for a serious thing at all. That's why they put the tweet out. There's flat Earth members all around the globe.
Yeah, I mean, you realize
they're
this
well
whole
aware.
flat Earth movement was started by some guy making a joke essentially, and then a bunch of people.
Comedian.
What?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, dude, I gave you evidence that flat Earth has been in history for ever since we have recorded history. There's
of course
ancient,
it has, but we've learned things since 12,000 years ago. Not literally.
Right.
But
I mean, it got dropped.
We've learned the Earth isn't flat.
It got dropped, a couple thousand years ago, and then it wasn't picked up again until the 1880s with Robotham, and then it got dropped again, and then it got picked up again. 2015, 2014. So
yeah,
it's not like
flat Earth maps that go all throughout history. Okay, there hasn't been, it hasn't left us.
When was the last flat Earth? When was the last flat Earth map issued? Before we started using projection maps.
Flat map that's been wrapped around a ball.
Well, that doesn't work because we use it to navigate, and if we used your method, we wouldn't be able to get anywhere. So we know that's obviously not the case. So it's more likely that all projection maps are flattened globes because that's what we experience. But when was the last flat Earth map issued? Do you know? You seem to be a history expert when it comes to the flat Earth. So when was the last flat Earth map issued?
Well, I don't know off the top of my head, but I have a lot of.
Why don't you look into it?
They're all over the place, and like I said, the flat.
Yeah, they're all over the place. They're all different.
Wrapped around a ball.
Hey, Flatwater.
So have you ever tried taking something flat and then wrapping it around a ball?
Well, obviously, there's some software correction that's being done to the flat map in order to make it wrap around a ball. It's not going to work like a piece of paper wrapping around a physical ball. They do software manipulation.
Okay, so before we had software, we had globes, right? I mean, you would agree that in the 1930s there were globes sitting in classrooms, right? We didn't have software back then, did we? So what process did they use to take a flat image and then wrap it around a ball, yet on the ball, all the continents are where they're supposed to be, and we can use that to navigate?
They're not only where they're supposed to be, but they're also the right proportions and distance from each other, which is not possible on any flat Earth map that's ever been produced. Thus, further proof the Earth isn't flat.
Really? So you don't know of any problems with your globe Earth model there, as far as land masses?
No,
not a bit. Tell me more.
Okay, you should look into something called the Two Diomede Islands.
Oh my
I
god!
will look this up. Two Diomede, is that Diamede?
Diomede islands.
DIO. Okay, let's see.
Well, clearly, you're just missing my name whenever I'm speaking. Do you not recognize my
You're
name?
you're really quiet.
You're really quiet.
I debunked you in 17 seconds when you brought up the Diomede Islands.
Damn, 17 seconds. How? Oh, that's a record. I
Okay,
didn't
here,
even know
let
that
me
happened.
explain it so everybody's on the same page. So there's two islands that that are
sunset. They're like 3 miles apart with like 3 hour, 4 hour different sunsets.
Dude, Green Wolf, let him do his thing. Come on. Let him finish
Okay,
telling
yeah,
you this.
I'm gonna get everybody on the same page. So there's two islands called the Big Diomede and Little Diomede. One's allegedly owned by Russia, and the other one's owned by America as part of Alaska. And they, the international date line runs between them. Okay, so there are two islands in the Bering Strait, and the international date line runs between them. And there's a distance of 3 miles between those islands, and there's a 4-hour difference between sunrise for both of those islands.
Within less than 30 seconds of you posting that, you know what I asked? Did you account for time zones?
Okay, so that is the issue. Just because you can say time zones doesn't mean that you have a model that works. Okay, so you have.
Wait a minute now. Hold on. Are you? I mean, this is what I'm asking here, because time zones are just man-made creations, and if you look at the map of the United States, you can see the central time zone is humongous, right? Hold on. But the way you framed your sentence is that the sun literally rises 4 hours later when it's only 3 miles.
There's a 4-hour difference between sunrise in a span.
That's just because of arbitrary time zones, man. You realize time zones don't extend along latitude or longitude lines. You realize that, right? Like, come on, man. Like,
well, let's check.
Seriously.
Let's check this together.
Listen to the argument. The argument is that you have a distance between those two islands, and there's a.
That's just because these islands decide. That's just because the governments of these islands decided, hey, I don't want to be in this time zone. I'm going to be in that one. That has nothing to do with the geometry.
Dan's trying to get a word in. Let's let him get it in.
Arguing about it. Why don't you check and verify it? Can you tell us the name of those islands again?
Big Diomede and Little Diomede is Diomede.
Okay.
Okay, the issue is that between a span of those two islands is 3 miles, and you have a 4-hour difference in time according to the sunrise. So the sunrise, there's a 4-hour difference between those two islands. But if you go 3 miles in the other direction, then there's no difference. Okay, so that means that your model's all jacked up.
No, it doesn't.
You can go.
It just means that the sun rises. The sun rises per my clock. 4 hours later than it does on the other island. It doesn't mean that the sun is literally rising 4 hours later. I mean, it's there. You can't argue with that. Otherwise, there would be tons of references to the fact that the sun just stops in the sky over Little Diomede Island and then pauses for 4 hours before it moves over Big Diomede Island.
Time 4 hours in the space of 3 miles is because your model.
So when I drive to Atlanta, I have to set my clock forward an hour, and it's not like it's not like it's making the sun move any faster across the sky. That's just because political boundaries and things like that drew out time zones. Those don't have anything to do with the actual rotation of the Earth or the Earth orbiting around the sun or anything like that.
It has to do with your model. There's severe issues. There's a difference between time is arbitrary depending on which direction you go.
So do you think that politicians in these various countries consulted with scientists from the globe Earth model and sat down and to cobble this together? Or do you think it's more likely that it was just some bureaucrats who didn't know shit about shit filling in stuff with a pencil?
Hey, if you had
Yeah,
the correct
Flat
model,
Water.
you wouldn't have these kind of issues where
No, Flat Water. I'm going to explain.
You go
God
that
damn it,
you're
man.
going to have a 4-hour difference
So
in sunrise.
you won't take the intellectually honest approach that it's more likely that some bureaucrats fill that in with a pencil. They just arbitrarily decided where that time zone was going to go. They didn't consult with anybody who was important when it came down to it.
Flatwater, I'm going to ask you a very simple question.
How it comes about is
Flatwater, I'm going to ask you a very
simple
simple question, please. Do you think that time zones are based off of the physical geometry of the planet? Yes or no?
Well, they're both wrong. I mean, obviously, both the time and the model don't match up.
Assuming we did live on a globe,
I'm not even saying the
assuming,
Earth is a
assuming we
globe.
live on a globe, do you think time zones are predicated by the shape of the Earth?
Well, in some ways, they're supposed to be in order for us to, have these sunrise dates, and you guys say that you can predict all these kinds of things, but really, there's some issues still as far as like how
no
you
issues.
determine the time
Sunrise,
zone.
sunset to
them
the
on the globe.
second, Flatwater. To the second, without a problem. Sunrise, sunset, everywhere in the world.
Yeah, time zones have nothing to do with the geometry of the planet. It's kind of guided by it, but time zones, what country, what state, what city uses what is in what specific time zone was based off of whatever politician happened to be sitting his fat ass in a chair one day. It has nothing to do. Like it has nothing to do with the geometry of the
listen to
planet.
scientists. I wish politicians consulted with physicists before they made decisions. But the reality is they don't.
Remember the most important thing about time zones, which is time. The origin of all the time zones pass through Great Britain. Apart from that, you don't really need to know much else.
So Flat Earth, I just checked.
Time zones mean nothing.
Thanks, Great Britain.
Flat Earth, I just checked the time and date website for this. And if you measure the time relative to the same time zone, the sunrise is 3 minutes apart. So really the difference comes down to just the arbitrary man-made time zone.
No, do you know why you've got that 3 minute difference?
A few days ago.
That 3
I'm
minute
not sure
difference
how
is
you're
due to
getting
the
your
width of the time zone. And what you'll find is that's the elapsed time between the edge of the time zone and the other edge of the time zone and the sun rising across it. So you've got an averaged for the middle of it. So again, you really need to look at what the fuck you're talking about.
You guys need to look at your model and just arbitrarily, assuming everything is, fits nicely in a box. And
it does. We don't assume it.
Time zones are not a part of the globe model. Nowhere in the globe model. No, I want you to listen. I want you to listen to me for a second, because you keep saying that we have a problem with our model, and then you pointed out something that is not in our model. So that's pretty disingenuous to say that. Nowhere in the globe model are time zones. Okay, get that through your head.
Time zones do not follow longitude lines.
I'm not saying that.
I mean, it's that simple. They do not follow longitude lines. If
Nobody's
they did,
saying that. You don't need a straw man.
If they did, you would be right. We would have a problem. But they don't. They just go wherever the fuck they want based off of some political decisions. They have nothing to do with the shape of the Earth. Furthermore, even if what you were saying was true, which it's not, but even if what you're saying was true, you would have the exact same problem on the flat Earth. You do realize that, right?
No, not necessarily, because you don't even know the model of the flat Earth. You might be assuming one.
I'm not assuming.
I have a good feeling you would know that they're exactly 3 miles apart. That's not a mystery.
Flatwater, tell me this. Why is China all one time zone then?
Yeah, why are you talking like that?
Because I have roommates that are asleep.
I was kidding. Hey, I'm not sure what you guys are saying. I heard something that Dan had said, and maybe this is relevant, but probably it's not. But the time zones don't have any. They don't have any specific reference like that. Like he said, China's got like 13. That was 11 or 13 different hours that are all in one time zone or something like that. Regardless, though, the longitude lines, they do perfectly follow the sun, though. So I just want to remind everybody. But I don't know if that's relevant or not. So everybody along the same line of longitude are going to receive their noons at the same time, stuff like that.
No, it's extremely
right. Like when I go down to Florida, when I go straight south from my location in Alabama to the Florida Panhandle, I go into a different time zone, even though I'm not moving east or west. Okay, it has everything to do with political boundaries and choices than it does with the globe model. It has nothing to do with the globe model. Just hit you with the fact, dude.
Your sunrise has a specific time, right? So it does have a lot to do with your globe model.
It has something to do with the relative time of where you are, but it doesn't have anything to do with how long it takes the sun. It doesn't have anything to do with how long it takes the sun to move from Little Island to Big Island. And the way you originally framed your statement is you made it sound like there was a 4-hour, literal 4-hour gap in that time it took.
According to
there is no 4-hour. It takes 3 fucking minutes, man.
Calm
3
down.
minutes.
You're
a liar. You're a liar.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second.
Time and date and
so
check yourself before you start.
What do you think daylight savings time is?
Sorry, can I get a quick point in? So the problem I've got with this is if you go to sunrise, sunset, and you go and look it up, you put in your longitude and latitude for where you are, and it will give you an accurate rising for that position. Yeah, the time zones really are immaterial to you looking at, because you can look it up in UTC, Universal Time Constant, yeah, for the planet Earth. And we could do all our measurements on that, and then all we need to do is adjust our time zone for it. So it's immaterial. When you look up the sunrise for your location, it will give you something that's accurate to the second.
That means it's material then. If you can depend on the sunrise and the prediction of the sunrise, then that is based on those time zones. So it is material.
No, it's based on latitude
on your location.
It's based on longitude lines.
You know,
not
a second
time
ago,
zones.
all right. You know, a second ago when I said the thing about the longitude lines, one thing that you would imagine is like the noon, like noon o'clock, like when it's 12 noon. You would imagine that would be your local solar noon. In a perfect world, that would make sense. But if you notice, people have their local solar noon sometimes as early as 11 o'clock, sometimes as late as 1 o'clock or later. And so that just shows you that there is a huge variant, that your specific time where your location is not going to match up to where your time zone is. Nobody really has a perfect. Nobody's time is really in sync with what it's supposed to be. So yeah, the time zones really do. They really don't have a definite reference as far as the sunset, sunrise, or noon or anything.
Referential time zone. It's called UTC, right? Universal time, right? And you can know your time, and wherever you are in the entire world, you can state what your time is in UTC, right? So if you looked up the sunrise time for those two islands in UTC, it would be 3 minutes apart, and you can do that anywhere, and it would give you a correct answer for your sunrise. Just because you're using, like, I think it's just so confusing to even try to use local time zones. Just use one absolute reference frame, and then all of this confusion goes away.
Time zones don't go away.
No, if you're using one singular time zone, which is UTC, then this 4-hour difference goes away.
Okay, so time zones have no bearing on UTC.
UTC is just one standard.
Dude, I mean, you do realize that there are some states where, even though they're on Central Time, they don't participate on daylight savings time. So I can drive to Indiana from Illinois and change my time zone, even though I only moved, a couple of miles. It's not like it changed the sun's position in the sky or anything like that. It's just a time zone. It has nothing to do with the globe model.
Okay, so
by
now
you saying that just shows how ignorant you are of the actual globe model, and maybe you should go educate yourself about it so you don't say stupid things like that again.
Dude,
The whole
okay.
sunrise thing isn't even
For some
part.
reason, you don't think that the time and the sunrise applies to the globe model, and that's why you don't understand the point.
I didn't say anything about time or the sunrise. I said time zones
Sunrise
specifically.
is how.
So by you saying that, you are again showing you're either deaf or stupid or a liar, because I didn't say any of those things. I specifically
first
said
of all,
time zone.
we've already established that you're the liar because you can't
really?
read.
What did I lie
recite the-
about?
And the
I went to your
Himawari
site and I
sound
read the exact thing what you said, which was wrong because it specifically was talking about the Goez archive. I'm not going to let that go. You either concede that point, or I'm going to continue to keep calling you a fucking liar.
Okay, and you could be wrong. That's fine.
No,
Oh, I could be, but I'm not.
More things
You are
that you're wrong.
100% wrong. Your credibility right now is shit, Bubba, because you just said that the globe model was wrong because we had some issues. One of those issues being look into this Little Diomedes and Big Diomedes Island. And when we did, guess what we found out? The issue was with you and your understanding and not with the globe model. So strike one. I'm sorry, strike two for you.
Understanding that sunrises are part of your model and time zones.
Does the sun take 4 hours to go from one island to the other, or does it take 3 minutes? Because if you're right, if it did take 4 literal hours for the sun to make that journey of 3 miles, then, oh yeah, we'd have a big-ass problem with our model. But it doesn't. It takes 3 minutes, which corresponds to exactly 15 degrees per hour rotation.
Okay, but you still can't address the arbitrary difference in time depending on the direction that you move within 3 miles.
Sure I can. It's arbitrary. You just said the word arbitrary, as in just kind of randomly chosen. It has nothing to do with the globe model. It has everything to do with political decisions.
Are you moving 3 miles on your globe model? Do you believe that you're moving 3 miles on the globe model, or is it just in the simulation that you believe?
Okay, well, that's a false dichotomy. I don't feel like I'm moving. I don't feel like I'm moving on a model or in a simulation. I feel like I'm moving on the planet Earth. We make models to help make testable, testable predictions, and have demonstrable, repeatable results. So I don't know what conflation you got going on here, but no, we don't live on a model.
Okay.
Yeah. We live on a globe.
Yeah. Tell me about that repeatable again, depending on which direction you go 3 miles, and you got a 4-hour difference in sunrise.
Sure. It's not a 4-hour difference in sunrise. It's a 3-minute difference in sunrise. That's what I keep pointing out to you. And the arbitrary part is what label some politician decided to put on that time. It has nothing to do with the actual. What was brought up by, I think it was by Dan about universal, the UTC, is that's a standard frame of reference that you could then use to plot it out and go, okay, well, yeah, there's no problem. The only problem is that some dumbass threw a line on
you just start believing Dan, because he's been proven wrong countless times. But yeah, I'll bring evidence to prove you wrong again, just like Himawari. And
I verified the 3 minutes. I verified the 3 minutes thing on timeanddate.com. So no, I didn't just take his word for it. I went to timeanddate.com just to check.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Took 3 minutes.
To Flatwater. I'm sorry. I just want to get this in. Flatwater, I pass through a time zone on the way to work. Does that mean that it takes me an extra hour to get to work?
not saying that.
You are. I mean, you are saying that. You're saying it's the same difference with the islands, man. Like,
no,
I pass
no,
through a time zone on the way to work. It does not take me an extra hour to get to work. It's the same thing.
No, it's not. You're not understanding.
What's the difference?
All jacked up, and your model's all jacked up. That's why you.
You
keep saying that, but you won't give us a how our model is all jacked up.
You realize that a time zone has nothing to do with the position of the sun in the sky, right? You realize that, right? That the local time zone has nothing to do with the position of the sun. Nothing.
Okay, so you can't trust the sunrise being at a certain time then.
On UTC, you can. That's what the other guy was explaining.
Coming. Okay.
Time zones do not follow longitude lines, man. They're arbitrarily picked by the governments of the area.
Even UTC
They're political decisions.
Time zones.
They're political decisions. It's not. It has nothing to do with the shape of the Earth.
Sunrise
this is a
political decision.
No,
it's a political decision. If you drive, so the time zone is, if you drive from Birmingham, Alabama, straight north 90 miles to Nashville, Tennessee, you won't be changing your longitude because it's straight north, right? But Tennessee is on Eastern Standard Time and Alabama is on Central Standard Time. Okay? They had nothing to do with the globe model. Somebody just arbitrarily decided that's what time it was going to be in that state.
It's just a standard, man. That's all it is. Like, come on, this is a concept that I understood in elementary school. I remember my teacher teaching me this. How do you, as a grown-ass man, not understand this? I understood this when I was like 7. Seriously.
Yeah, just like you understood the globe model, and you got all kinds of problems that you can't properly address.
There's no problems, just your misunderstanding. That's what I'm trying to point out. The things that you think are problems are not problems. It's your misunderstanding.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Really. Let's go back. Let's go back to what is observable and science, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay. So you realize that like if you take a fighter jet and it's going 1,000 miles per hour through the Earth atmosphere, that you can get something called a vapor cone. Are you aware of this?
Okay.
Okay, so you admit that that is a real thing, and it happens because you're moving supersonic speeds. Do you understand
Through
that?
a medium. Through a medium.
Through a medium that's moving with the Earth's surface. Yes. Go ahead.
Oh, really? All right. Do you have a model for that, where you can show that that happens?
I do. I have a model that I made myself that I can show you.
You have a globe model.
Example. Surely
he has a really good model. He has a good demonstration of it. You should show them, Dan.
Yeah.
I've seen
Give me 1 second.
I mean, I could break out my CFD book and get and make a mathematical model for the
yeah. Okay.
for the freaking flow of fluid around the Earth.
That's the issue.
When you ask for a
and
model,
you're talking about people having problems.
You ask for a model.
Yeah, there's no issue when the model matches observable data.
No.
If you have a mathematical model that makes accurate predictions of future data in reality that you're measuring, that means it's correct.
Okay, you want to get
that's how science. That's how you verify that your understanding is correct. That's how science works. Now, when you try to do that with the flat Earth, nothing works.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's talk about nothing working. Let's talk about
let's talk about that. How is it that people so let's talk about nothing working on the flat Earth. So how is it that somebody in Australia and Africa can both be looking due south and see the exact same point in the sky, even though they're looking different directions? How does that work?
How do you know that they're looking different directions?
Man, there is one. I'm not going to have this art.
Okay, well, so 85. Let Dan just demonstrate his model, the one that flat Earth, flat water ass for.
Yeah.
That's wait. I want to address his compensation with math and models, because I don't think he's fully aware how easily it is to debunk all of his math and models. It is not a one-to-one relationship with reality. It actually doesn't mean anything.
You ask for
it's not supposed to be one-to-one.
That's a claim.
Okay.
Now back it up.
All right.
Give me a mathematical model that doesn't match. Give me a mathematical
he's
model.
Right. He's right. He's right. The whole right. 85. He's correct. Mathematical models, by definition, are not supposed to match up to reality. They're supposed to be off. There are approximations. There's simplifications. That's the whole point of the model. But that's good. That's a good thing. They're supposed to be like that.
It means that you
not in all cases. No.
Compensating for numbers on paper because it's not anything that's going to make something real. It's not going to make your globe Earth real. It's not going to make your model real just because you can write numbers on paper and say that it checks out.
Of course not. You have to be more nuanced about the way you understand. You have to be more new. Hold on, 85. You have to be more nuanced about the way you understand what a model's for and what it does, why we have them. And you can be perverse about it if you want. But if you want to be real about it, you can understand that they're designed to explore and illustrate whether a system works or not. And you can isolate the system, simplify the system, and evaluate what's going to happen. And that's exactly what Dan's done with this simulation, which I really think we should, before we move on too much, you did ask for this model. You said, show me this model, and it just so happened Dan had made it. So can we at least let him demonstrate it?
Flatwater, have you seen the video that I posted in chat?
Why are you bringing up CGI again?
You asked for a model.
Dude, that's not a real model, like something that we can.
That is a real model.
See, why do you guys not want to deal with what's real? You always go back to.
That's a model. We're engineers and scientists and have experience. When people say models, this is what they mean. This is what we're talking about.
We're talking to a complete moron who doesn't understand what a scientific model is.
No name. Just give us a second. This is what people mean when they say model. You asked for this, and we're giving you this, and now we're shocked to hear you act as if you didn't ask for this.
You want styrofoam balls?
I want a real model, like in real life, not CGI.
Okay, but let me say again though. What's throwing us off is that when all of our experience in science and engineering, when we hear the word model, this is included in that. So why are you not including this in that?
Okay, so yeah, just know that I don't take CGI as any form of standard. Okay, so you can make numbers, say all kinds of things and draw all kinds of conclusions from CGI. That doesn't make it real.
Of course. It doesn't make it real, but it's designed to show you proof. Hold on, 85. Hold on, 85. Could just take a breath, 85. You've been talking a lot. What it's designed to do is to help you see that something is possible. It's not like a proof that this is the way it is. It's more like, okay, well, how would something work in the case of, say, if the Earth is rotating, the atmosphere is rotating with it? Does that make any kind of sense? And then what would it look like? And do we have something that can make, that we could use to sort of model it to see if it actually does happen that way? So we make a simplified model to see, oh, okay, yeah, look, friction applied here. Yeah, it actually works out pretty well when you do it that way. Now, that doesn't guarantee that's what happened, which is not what we're trying to claim, but it does give you at least one path that you can get there through. And that's the whole point of the model, is to demonstrate like a proof of concept more than anything.
Okay, yeah, the proof of concept is wrong just because it's based on modeling using like math. So CGI is modeling using math, and math can be proven to not be analogous to what is real. Okay, so are you aware of this Area 85?
What are you talking about, man? Hold on. All modeling, even if you're talking about making styrofoam balls as analogs to what we're trying to accomplish here, require math to scale it, right? So all modeling requires math. There's no way around it.
Yeah, let's look into math. All right, because this is the foundation behind your numbers and your CGI. They all depend on math. So you are overcompensating on math.
Well, I think you got it backwards. The math relies on the numbers.
Well. Okay, so all right, let me break it down here. Okay, so math. Let's take a very simple demonstration. You have 1 gallon of water, and you add 1 gallon of water, you get 2 gallons of water. Is that always true?
Yes.
Yes, it would have to be, right? Because you believe math is real.
Well, if you have 1 gallon of water and another gallon of water, and you add them together, you have 2 gallons of water. Now, you can arbitrarily change the term that you're using. You can say it's Smurf. 1 + 1 = Smurf. As long as we all agree that Smurf is 2 basically. If we all agree that Smurf equals 2, then yeah, you can change the nomenclature as much as you want. But the reality is, if you have one jug of water and another jug of water, you end up with 2. That's not some kind of mathematical magic.
Okay.
You know,
do you
that's
agree with
just,
that, Area 85?
Agree with. Okay, what specifically are you asking?
Okay, we're going through a mathematical proof to see if math is real. Okay, so
are you a mathematician? By the way,
what you're saying by math is real. You're asking
well,
me a question.
Guys,
I'm gonna
remember. I'm
what
talking
are you
about.
saying?
I'm asking
What are
for
you
a
actually asking
model,
when you
and you
say
guys
is math
think that
real?
math. I'm asking for a model, and you guys are invoking math as if it's real. You're acting like math is real, and I'm trying to go through a proof to show you math isn't real.
What do you mean by real? What
okay,
you've got
this is what I mean.